Good afternoon. Welcome to the October 13th, 2020 meeting of the Town Council Charter Review Committee. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, this meeting is being videotaped and audio recorded, as well as being remotely broadcasted via a Zoom webinar. If there is anyone in our viewing audience who is taping this meeting, would you please announce yourself? Hearing and seeing none. First order, Ralph, you are taking minutes, I heard?
I am taking the minutes of this meeting.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. And we have minutes of the October 6th, 2020 meeting for approval. Do I see a motion?
Motion to approve.
By Phil. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Bill seconded. Discussion? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor, Phil Adams,
Yes.
Larry Levine, yes. Bill Fonseca,
Yes.
Marilyn, do you vote? No.
No, not
You're
voting
not.
today.
Ralph,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Good, unanimous. Okay, before we continue where we last dropped off, I know we discussed an item that Ralph had brought up. It was on the charter, it was regarding the ability of the town, or whether the town manager exclusively under Article 3, Section, pardon me, Section 2, item number 14, had the unilateral authority to hire and decide what other entities within the town could take advantage of the town's lawyer. And I don't know if anyone had a chance to look. Where's Ralph? There's Ralph.
Yep.
Ralph, I looked at the old general bylaws, same section number 5.040, and I compared it to the amended version, which really only changed the Board of Selectmen term to that of town manager. And I never saw the wording in that entire section that then town departments, and in the current version, which are all town officials, boards and committees, that they had free access, not free, they were able at any point on their own to access the use of the town attorney. And it's not crystal clear, but I just wanted to give you a history. It basically said that if a town board, and I'm talking prior to 2002, wanted to use the services of the town's attorney, they had to send their request to then the Board of Selectmen. And it appears that the wording is there that those boards still have to send copies of their requests to the town manager. And the implication, at least in the past, was unless it was in the normal course of the duties of the town's attorney, i.e. at that point within the retainer, anything other than that had to be approved by the Board of Selectmen. And I would suggest possibly the current wording has the same implication, especially when you read that in conjunction with that section within the town charter regarding the town manager's powers. However, I think we decided to, when Mary came in, we would discuss this issue with her.
Yeah, I believe you're correct. We decided we would discuss it with Mary.
Okay.
I believe though, if I remember right, and I was just trying to pull it up.
I have it, Ralph,
Section
if you want me to read it.
5.040.
5.0, yes, correct. It's item F. Do you want me to read it? Do you have it?
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay. It says, all town officials, boards, and committees requiring the services of the town attorney shall keep the town manager aware of such requests for services, notifying him in writing or by sending copies of any communications to him.
Which to me, Larry, that sounds like it's after the fact that
Right.
boards have the right to talk to the attorney as long as they allow and notify the town manager, I've talked to the attorney regarding this or that. But I do believe that it falls under what you said with regards to a attorney being on retainer.
Mhm.
The problem that we have now is, although it looks like that's the way we should hire an attorney, our current attorney is on an hourly basis, not on a retainer.
Mhm.
So everything they do is billed separately.
Yeah. Bill?
With the school committee, we've done the same thing. We've gone to an hourly. We don't necessarily have a firm on retainer, but we are subject to hourly billing. So I don't know if that's common practice now or how it works.
I still think you can negotiate for a retainer. Whether you can find someone with that, I don't know.
So Larry, if I'm
So
reading,
I guess, yeah.
sorry, if I'm reading the charter correctly, that section sounds like section 14, that the town manager shall be responsible for the purchasing of all supplies, materials, services, and equipment. So to me, the charter, what that's saying is it's her job to hire the attorney. Once the attorney's hired, then it goes to the bylaws, and the bylaw says that the board can use that attorney's services as long as they let the town manager know. That would be the interpretation, but obviously I'm not the town manager or anything, and I know the concern is that the budget's going to go through the roof.
That's
And I
correct.
understand that.
The other thing was, past practice in the history was that the request came in, albeit there was a retainer. So there were times when separate boards or committees wanted to go beyond what was within that retainer authority. And therefore, it was really important that the selectmen make a decision on what to do. Yeah, I think the budgeting issue is the primary concern when you have so many different boards, committees, individuals could spend all our money.
Right.
Okay. All
And
right.
that's why I just
So-
think that there's got to be a way to fix it. I just don't know how.
Okay.
Who knows? Maybe in the future, the town will have an attorney as an employee, a law department. We're going to
Yep.
have 50,000 people in town, so.
I don't know where you're going to put them.
Yeah,
They're
really.
hired.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are commencing today with Article 5, Administrative Organization,
Right,
Section 1, correct?
right.
Okay. And that is organization of town agencies. The organization of the town into operating agencies for the provision of services and the administration of the government may be accomplished only through an organization or reorganization plan filed with the town council by the town manager, period. No organization or reorganization plan may originate with the town council, period. The town manager may, subject only to express prohibitions in the general laws, comma, or this charter, comma, propose to reorganize, comma, consolidate, or abolish any town agency, comma, in whole or in part, semicolon. The town manager may establish such new town agencies as is deemed necessary, comma, provided, comma, however, comma, that no function assigned by this charter to a particular town agency may be discontinued or assigned to any other town agency unless this charter specifically so provides, period. That's the first paragraph in that section. We'll stop here for any comments or questions or discussion. Yes, Ralph?
So we've had a situation with our past town manager where she interpreted the wording may as it's her choice whether or not she has to go through this process. That she may organize or not reorganize a department. At the time, it was the attorney's feeling and hers that she didn't have to notify the town council because it says may. So I would like to tighten up some of the wording in this and replace some of the wording which says may to shall. And that way there, she is required to notify the town council. Well, let's take the first sentence. The provision of services and the administration of the government shall be accomplished only through an organization or reorganization plan, which is basically saying you have to do it.
I agree with that.
Are you making a motion, I guess?
Yeah, I'm rereading the paragraph just to say just to think if we can change all of the mays to shall.
Mhm.
Ralph, does that mean that the town manager has to have town council approval before they establish a new town agency or eliminate?
Yes.
them?
Mm.
Yes, okay. So this is taking some power away from the town manager that the town manager currently has. We have a strong town manager, right?
So in my feeling, the answer to that question would be no, Phil.
I agree.
believe it was the thought process of the Charter Commission that the town manager was going to do this. In order to reorganize the department, she went to the town council with a reorganization plan. It just so happened that in one instance, the town attorney said, no, he disagrees. May means she could or she couldn't. But I think the Charter Commission, at least in my terms of looking at it, that's what we wanted. If you're going to subdivide, let's say, the DPW into a park and rec and a highway, that you come to the council and say, here's the pros and the cons of doing it. These are the cost factors involved. This is what I want to do. Is that okay with the council? So Larry, to answer your question, I would make a motion that in the first paragraph, all the wording that says may be changed to shall.
I'm just reading. Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Bill seconded.
I feel like the second
Just-
sentence there for originating with the town council shall doesn't make sense.
Great.
Where are you, Andy?
No, so,
That's
the
Tom.
third line down, that second sentence starts, no organization or reorganization plan shall originate with the town council. I don't think that would make sense. I think
No. May originate
Stay
in
there.
that case, yeah.
Aren't there two issues here?
Go ahead.
Issue number one, you want the town manager to notify the council, which I agree with.
Uh-huh.
And issue number two is town council must approve actions.
Well, no. Hold that thought, because in paragraph 4 of that same section is what you're looking for.
Okay.
I'm going back, who just said in the second sentence or third line to may originate?
That was Tom.
Oh, Tom, I don't know in that context whether may or shall has any different
Okay.
meaning for that particular sentence.
Shall just doesn't sound right to me.
Oh,
I agree with
okay.
that.
Well, that's
Yeah,
a good
no, you're right.
point.
Doesn't sound right either.
No, it doesn't sound right.
Correct, but I don't think it changes the meaning of it.
Right. All right. So you want to change that to shall?
Oh, I was just making a point. If
All right.
if it's everyone's opinion that it's not going to change the meaning of the sentence, then I mean I'm no wordsmith.
I don't think it does.
Okay.
And going back to Ralph, you want in the third sentence where it says the town manager may, you want that to say shall?
Yes.
Where are you?
Can you read that? It doesn't seem to
Very
flow.
bottom of page 13, the town manager.
So it would say the town manager shall, comma, subject only to express prohibitions in the general laws or this charter, propose to reorganize, consolidate, or abolish any town agency in whole or in part. The town manager may establish such new town agencies.
Shall.
Shall,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Probably just take one at a time.
Hmm.
Right, break it
Yeah.
down at a time.
That sounds like a good idea.
That's why Jeannie gets the big money.
That's right.
So we go back to the first sentence and read that and then vote on it each May.
I think that'll be the best. Well, sorry,
Okay.
Well,
through the chair.
Yep. All right, so the first sentence, we have a motion by Ralph and seconded by Bill to, in the first sentence of that section, to change the word may to shall.
Correct.
And is there any further discussion on that sentence? Seeing none, all those in favor, Phil Adams,
Yes.
Larry Levine, yes. Bill Fonseca,
Yes.
Ralph Page,
Yes.
Jeff Bosworth,
Yes.
Tom Christensen,
Yes.
Andy Fraser.
Yes.
Thank you. So that sentence unanimous. And we forgot to welcome our president, Michael Kane.
Welcome, Michael.
Welcome.
Mike.
Right on, Michael.
How are you?
The second sentence, no organization or reorganization plan may originate with the town council. Is there any action on that sentence?
Larry, I have no problems leaving that the way it is.
The
I
third
think it's-
sentence, is there a motion on the third sentence?
Ralph, you made a motion to put shall in there, didn't you?
Say it again?
Ralph made a motion that he wants to add shall in the third sentence. I believe, correct, Ralph?
Ralph, is that correct?
So we're at the town manager may, is that the,
Yes.
Yes.
I'm rereading it right now just to make sure.
That's almost like you're forcing her to propose to reorganize. That
Right.
him or her, excuse me. if you take out the subject only to express blah, 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 it says the town manager shall propose to reorganize. That doesn't make sense.
No.
And this is a different purpose than the first sentence.
Right.
The
Right.
first sentence was to establish organizational operating agencies. And that was a requirement. This is talking about reorganize, consolidate, or abolish.
If it comes up.
Right.
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 But then they still have to revert back to sentence 1, which is if you want to do any of those things, you have to file with
Right.
town council.
Exactly.
Correct.
I'm good with leaving may in that sentence.
Okay. Any other discussion on that third sentence? Seeing none. And that included after the semicolon or not? After in whole or part?
I'd read that next part should be another one too, I guess, just for,
Yeah.
What was the comment?
No change.
No
Okay.
change.
Right.
Any other discussion? Okay,
So we actually only added one shall. in that.
that's correct.
Okay. I think that's good. Thank you.
Okay.
That no function assigned by this chapter.
Next paragraph reads, the town manager may from time to time prepare and submit to the town council organization or reorganization plans that establish operating divisions for the orderly, efficient, or convenient conduct of the business of the town.
Did we finish the mays and shalls in that first
No, we
paragraph?
didn't. In the second to the last line is,
More.
Oh, okay. Let's go back there a second. However, the no function assigned by this charter, in particular, may be discontinued or assigned. Comments,
like to see-
questions?
What's
Yes,
wrong?
Ralph?
I would like to see that may change to shall.
The no
Which one's
function
that?
assigned by-
Oh, may be discontinued.
Did we discuss the town manager may establish such new town agencies? Or did I miss
Where
that?
are you, Jeannie?
I'm on the, so if you're on page 14, the second line, after the semicolon, the town manager may establish such new town agencies. Was there a decision on that one, or did I miss
Yes,
that?
we left that alone.
Okay,
Yes.
That one alone.
thank you and sorry. Okay.
So Ralph, is that the next to the last line in that paragraph? Is that a motion to change
I
may
would
to
make a
shall?
motion to change that from may to shall.
Is there a second?
Second.
Jeff is a second. Discussion.
To a particular town.
Just reading. Bear with
Yeah.
me. However, no function assigned by this charter to particular towns shall be this. Yes. Seeing or hearing no other discussion, all those in favor, Phil Adams,
Yes,
Larry Levine, yes, Bill Fonseca,
Yes.
Ralph Page,
Yes.
Jeffrey Bosworth,
Yes.
Tom Christensen,
yes.
Andy Fraser.
Yes.
Okay. Should I read this next paragraph again?
no,
Okay, thank you, Phil. Any discussion on that paragraph? Seeing or hearing none, no action on that paragraph. The next paragraph, every organization or reorganization plan submitted by the town manager pursuant to this provision shall contain a proposed bylaw which sets out, in detail, such amendments, insertions, revisions, repeals, or otherwise of existing bylaws as may be necessary to accomplish the desired organization, period. Such organization or reorganization plan and proposed bylaws shall be accompanied by a message of the town manager which explains the benefits expected to ensue, period. Discussion? There's something missing in the third line where it says repeals or otherwise. There should be a word in there. Anyone have any thoughts?
Insertions,
Yes.
revisions, repeals.
What's that on the details section, amendments?
Let's see.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Say it again?
Everybody said bless you. I
Bless
said
you.
thank
Oh, okay, thank you.
Such amendments.
So Larry, is this what you were talking about earlier when I made that covering that other piece that I brought up?
No, the next paragraph will have it.
something like Larry, something like other other changes to or other changes to
Modifications.
existing bylaws. It's
Uh,
like a et cetera, but it's not flowing.
It says such amendments, insertions,
Yeah,
provisions, repeals, or otherwise
Changes
changes. Yeah,
of existing bylaws,
Hmm,
does that fit?
Yeah.
changes,
no,
or changes to the, or change, how about
Yeah, there you go, Bill.
insertions, revisions, repeals, or other changes of existing bylaws?
How about otherwise change of existing bylaws? Other one, no.
Okay.
The only thing
That's-
missing from amending or inserting or revising or repealing is deletion. I mean, I think it covers it all, but I don't know if you still want to do an otherwise.
Well, I'm thinking of
I
it,
I don't know whether that's, go ahead, Bill.
in the context, I think change would be the appropriate language,
Yeah,
given the context.
Or any other change to existing bylaws.
Yeah, something like that.
mm,
I like Tom's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's that? What did Tom say?
Or
Bless you.
or any other change to existing bylaw.
How about
mm.
Larry doesn't like it,
or
Marilyn.
otherwise changes any existing bylaws?
It's the same message.
Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
I like Tom's.
Okay, so it would read repeals or otherwise changes any existing bylaws.
That'll work.
To
like
any
I
existing,
like Tom's language better.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your, Tom?
I forget now.
Repeals
Come on,
or
you're
other
young.
change to existing bylaws.
Any
Or-
other
Or
changes?
any other change to existing bylaws.
Correct.
So it would read repeals or any other change
Right. to
Changes
existing
to-
bylaws.
to existing bylaws?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And that motion was made by Tom
Correct.
and seconded by
I'll second it.
Phil seconds. Any discussion? Yes, Ralph?
Doesn't make sense.
Okay, good.
Here we go.
I
So
still
what we're
like Tom's
talking about
language.
is a bylaw for an organization or a reorganization plan and what the town manager has to do.
Right,
Well, they have to set out a bylaw, and as they set out the bylaw, they have to tell what changes are going to be made to the existing bylaws.
right.
So that would be if there's a revision to the existing bylaw, if there's a repeal of an existing bylaw, if there's an insertion for that bylaw.
Right.
But I think when you add the new language, that just doesn't seem to fit to me.
I think it's repetitive, but it doesn't harm.
Yeah,
What if we go back to what Jeannie said about the word deletion? Is it possible that an entire bylaw gets removed based on what the proposal is.
Well,
would
that
be a
could
repeal.
fit under repeals.
Yeah,
All right, okay, okay.
Or
It would also
revision, you
fall
could
under
say.
any other change.
I think
Yeah.
we're using semantics and we're being repetitive.
We are.
It's just the existing wording that didn't fit.
Did you save your notes from your charter commission? Would you be able to go back and look and see why you put this language in there?
Yes.
But maybe, but I don't know
Yeah,
it's
I
that
think
important to go back and look at this issue.
see, a lot of
I think-
this was cut and pasted from other charters too, and we would read it and it made sense at the time.
Yeah,
You're really just bootstrapping and using different words for the same purpose.
Right.
So
I think Tom's suggestion is fine. Okay?
sure.
Yeah.
It's
So-
up to-
We
Sorry
already
about
voted on it, didn't we?
Go ahead, Phil.
sorry about this, Larry. Tom, could you just say once more or otherwise, and what's your language?
It would say, or any other changes to existing bylaws.
Or any other changes to, as may be
The
necessary?
word
Okay.
otherwise as well.
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's redundant, but I think it works.
Okay.
Mm.
Any other discussion?
Mm.
All those in favor, Phil Adams,
Yes.
Larry Levine, yes. Bill Fonseca,
Yes.
the Ralph Page,
Yes.
Jeffrey Bosworth,
Yes.
Tom Christensen,
Yes.
Andy Fraser.
Yes.
Okay, so that's unanimous. So any other discussion on that paragraph?
One more, Larry.
Yeah.
Yes,
The last sentence, such organization or reorganization plan and proposed bylaws shall be accompanied by a message from the town manager, not of the town manager. Which explains the benefits expected to ensue. Change the word of to from.
Oh, from.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. It
Yes.
flows that way.
Yeah, Larry, I have a
Okay.
comment on that too.
Yep.
I was wondering if the word statement would be better than message.
Like a text message.
Message seems soft, yeah. Yeah, like that. Or an Instagram. I think
Because
statement
a
sounds
message
more
could be a
formal.
phone message.
It just seems soft, not like
Yeah.
a more concrete.
Statement seems like a much more appropriate word for that sentence.
Yeah.
So
How about
statement-
written statement?
Even better.
Yes.
A written statement
Yep,
from the town manager.
right. Who made that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I will second the motion.
that was Ralph seconding. So the proposed change is, it would read, be accompanied by a written statement from the town manager. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Phil Adams,
Yes.
Larry Levine, yes. Bill Fonseca,
Yes.
Ralph
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Jeffrey Bosworth,
Yes.
Tom Christensen. Tom, you there?
Yes.
Okay, and Andy Fraser.
Yes.
Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, the last paragraph in section 1. Whenever the town manager proposes such a plan, the town council shall hold one or more public hearings on the proposal, giving notice by publication in a local newspaper, comma, which notice shall describe the scope of the proposal and the time and place at which any public hearing will be held, comma, not less than 7 nor more than 14 days following said publication. An organization or reorganization plan shall become effective at the expiration of 60 days following the date the proposal is submitted to the town council unless the town council shall, comma, by a majority vote, comma, within such period, vote to disapprove the plan, period. The town council may vote only to approve or to disapprove the plan and may not vote to amend or to alter it, period. Discussion.
On the sentence there that says, the date of effective, 60 days following the date the proposal is submitted. Wouldn't it be better to have 60 days following the date the proposal is approved?
The
not
60-day
approve.
period is when the town council has the ability to
Review it.
approve or disapprove it. It's after submitted by the town manager, the 60 days would commence. That's the way I read it. Am I missing something?
I agree with Andy.
No, I'm not following them.
So let me say it a different way. So the proposal is submitted, you could have a proposal submitted to the town council on July 1st, just an arbitrary date.
Mhm.
And then there's a whole bunch of steps that take place. It's ultimately approved, but then you're still working off that original 60 days from that July 1st. So let's say that it gets approved on August 1st.
Well, I thought this
You've kind of
was
lost a
written.
month.
Yeah, I thought though it was written that even within the requirements of the public hearings, it's a maximum of 60 days following submission by the town manager that the town council either approves or disapproves. So if I don't know if the word effective, well, I'm thinking out loud with you. At first, I thought that it was like a pocket veto. If they didn't, town council didn't act within the 60 days, but this requires them to take a definitive position.
Jeannie,
I
do
think that
do
was the
see it,
intent.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's almost like it could be effective even before it's approved. Is that what you're meaning, Andy? If you have one or more public hearings, by the time the council takes action, to me, it could be effective even before there's any action taken. That's what I'm reading by the plan shall become effective.
May I?
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
As you're reading this, I'm thinking that the plan is submitted, the council has 60 days to act on that
Mhm.
plan.
right.
And after 60 days, it becomes effective unless the council disapproves it.
That's
Read-
basically the way I
unless
read it
town
too.
council shall vote within such period to disapprove that plan. It doesn't say that the council, it's
Right.
almost like it's an
That-
automatic
that-
approval.
Yes, I was feebly trying to state that, but you more properly presented it. Yeah, that's in my mind like the veto, pocket veto in reverse.
See, I've never
Right.
heard of pocket veto.
Oh, I've heard of pocket vetoes.
Yeah.
Town manager submits it, town council does nothing, and 60 days go by, it's automatically approved.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so let's go back to Andy and Jeannie.
I've got something to add to that that I think would affect the timing. And so any reorganization of a department is a bylaw amendment. Is that correct? Ralph?
Say that one more time.
So any reorganization of a department is a bylaw amendment. So doesn't that require 2 public hearings? Not 1 or more, but 2?
No, a bylaw only requires one public hearing. It requires it to be read at 2 separate meetings, but only one public hearing.
Okay, so you still have 2 meetings. maybe 2 weeks apart, right? So I don't know if that would affect the timing as far as Andy and I are looking at it, but I'm still not understanding what Larry's coming from. So that could just be a mental block. I don't know.
So this is just approving or disapproving a reorganization plan. The plan actually can't become effective until the bylaw is amended.
Right.
So that doesn't really have anything to do with the charter.
Oh,
No, not the bylaw.
it's bylaws. Yeah. Okay.
So it's just to get the reorganization plan approved or disapproved.
Right.
In
That's
order
what this
to-
is talking
In order
about.
to execute that, there may be other steps.
Okay.
Okay, all right, that clarifies it for me then.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because this describes the process.
Assuming everybody doesn't think that they have a new department as soon as that plan is approved.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
That's
Because then there's
exactly.
other steps.
So Larry, I think that's exactly what's going to happen is the town manager submits a reorganization plan. The town council doesn't act within 60 days. So the plan goes through. So they're going to automatically say, okay, well, the plan's been approved. That's it. We're going to start dividing the departments and all, when that can't happen really until the bylaw is actually passed.
Right, and going back, the town manager, along with the proposed reorganization, has to submit a proposed bylaw simultaneously.
Right.
All right, so any other discussion on that paragraph? Seeing and hearing none, no action on that paragraph? Next section, section 2, is entitled Merit Principle. All appointments and promotions of town officers and employees shall be made on the basis of merit and fitness demonstrated by examination, comma, past performance, comma, or by other evidence of competence and suitability, period. Comments, questions, discussion?
Larry,
Yes,
Could-
Ralph?
could you explain town officers? Is that, I mean, town employees, I can understand. An officer of the town, do we have someone that fits into that description now?
I have no idea. I don't know.
it seemed to me
It's
like
not
that's
defined.
maybe a level or a department head level.
Department heads,
I mean, Jeannie, in my mind, would be an officer.
Well, you
Town
know,
clerk?
we're working on the general code for the bylaws. And
Mhm.
there was a section in the table of contents that was officers and employees.
Right.
Right.
It was to get rid of that verbiage, officers.
Yeah.
I know they're two separate documents, but they should
Right.
correlate at some point. So I don't know.
But we had the same discussion
Yes,
in the code revision because everybody kind of looked at each other and said, what are officers?
right.
Where did you put
Almost,
that?
it almost seems like it's trying to establish a delineation, just the military example. You have enlisted personnel and you have officers.
Mhm.
Well, if I may, in the corporate world, your officers are usually like your treasurer, your secretary, that type of
Yeah.
function.
Yep.
Right. I don't know what that adds.
I don't think it takes away from anything.
Yeah.
But I was curious. It's not like we have, like Jeff said, a CEO or a board of directors, which would be officers. More for curiosity purposes, based on a town, why we would use the word officers.
You could say board and commission members.
Yeah, but,
But a board and commission isn't really on a merit basis, is it?
no.
No,
Well, I don't know what
those
else
aren't.
they mean.
I don't think it hurts. I don't mind leaving it in there. I was just curious more than anything.
yeah. Okay. Seeing and hearing nothing else, no action on that paragraph. Section 3, powers, duties, and compensation of boards and commissions. Boards and commissions established under this charter shall perform their functions and duties in accordance with the Constitution, comma, general laws, comma, bylaws, and this charter, period. I'll stop there. There's another paragraph. Any discussion, questions, comments on this paragraph? Seeing none. The next paragraph reads, members of boards and commissions established under this charter may receive actual and necessary expenses incurred in the performance of their duties and may receive such compensation as may be authorized and established by the town council within limits of an appropriation made for that purpose, period. Questions, comments, discussion? Yes,
So there-
Ralph.
As far as boards and commissions may receive actual and necessary expenses,
Yep,
I personally, I feel that they shall receive. So in other words, if a board member has to go out and create a blueprint because the town's not able to, they should be compensated for that. If they have to do it because of their duty with the town, it's my thought that they should be compensated, not leave it up to the discretion of the powers that be. I don't know how anyone else feels about that.
I'll go along with changing the verbiage to shall.
Yeah.
Bill?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, people shouldn't have to pay for anything out of their own pocket when it's related to town business.
What if there's no appropriation for that purpose?
Then you go to the town council for reimbursement.
Says within the limits of an appropriation made for that purpose.
Right. So you'd have to do it before.
So
Yeah.
I will give you an example. Let's say Conservation Commission needs a blueprint of something blown up. Conservation Commission has a fund set up for office expenses and all, which could reimburse them for doing that. If the town doesn't have the facility to do it, they have to go out on their own to get the blueprint. They have a fund there for it, then they should be compensated. There may be instances where, like you said, there was no appropriation for it, they may not. But I think if there is an appropriation made, then they should be compensated for it.
Which I totally agree with.
Yeah.
Andy?
Yeah,
You're
no, I
good?
would agree with that.
Okay. Ralph, is that a motion?
I'd like to hear what Marilyn was thinking. I see her finger going up.
But it's
She
very
always,
tricky.
she's always there with me, so.
Well, I'm there with you. I understand what you're saying, but I also feel like when you make a shall, that takes any negotiations out of this particular situation. I think and you use the Conservation Commission as an example, and I know Jeff is on the Conservation Commission. You're still appointed by the town manager. And I think that if it's a reasonable request, and if it's important that the Conservation Commission have that information, she should approve it and then arrange for it to be the funds to come from the account that the Conservation Commission has. I think if you put shall in there, it might tie her hands in a situation that perhaps we're not aware of. That's all.
Ralph, have you seen or heard of any problem with this particular section?
So I'm gonna go right back to conservation. A lot of times, especially through the pandemic, they're issued blueprints on an 8.5 by 11 sheet. And the, what do I want to call it? The plotter wasn't available to actually create a plan which was large enough for them to actually look at. So they were told, hey, if you want it, you go out and do it on your own. I don't think that's fair. If the town can't supply what they need and they have to get it on their own, then they should be compensated for it. Just like I said. And again, I don't think this is something that's going to come up very often. I know many times on the planning board, I went to Staples, I had prints blown up and all. I didn't charge the town. It was $4. What's the big deal? I mean, that's myself.
So
Yes,
I
Tom.
guess I was trying to get at what Marilyn was getting at was, yes, I don't think people should be spending their own money for things they need. But if you're saying shall, you're opening somebody up to, oh, you know what? I want 6 copies or I want 12 copies. And that's what they want. That's what they need. Fine. But there's that many copies get submitted with every submission. So I assume, Jeff, and correct me if I'm wrong, that everybody on the Conservation Commission must get a copy when something's submitted, no?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
I'll give you a few instances. About a year or so ago, I forget the exact time frame, we were on a specific situation and requested a copy of the blueprint. Well, there's only one copy in the file and we can't let it go out of the building. Well, can you use the DPW's plotter to make copies? Oh, that doesn't work. Well, we need to make a site visit to check this out. Well, you can borrow it and you can, if you want to go make a print. So I went to make a print and I went to, well, at that time, PIP, but they were closed that day. So I had to drive all the way down to Minuteman Press in Enfield to make a copy of it. It cost me over $30. Then, well, you can submit a reimbursement form, okay, which I did. It took me 2 months to get reimbursed, but also technically the Conservation Commission is authorized to submit mileage for all the site visits we do around town. To my knowledge, I don't think anybody on the commission has submitted an expense report to get reimbursed for mileage. And, but except for that one time where I had to drive down to Enfield to get the print, I submitted a mileage request for that. But other than that, I haven't. But we just had another incident where we were trying to find a plan for a specific project or certificate of compliance that was requested. And we were told, well, there are no files for it because it's so old. But then another house came up in question of 3 houses up the street. Oh, all of a sudden there's a plan with that whole neighborhood on there. Oh, but it's really old and very frail. I don't know if it'll copy. Well, can you make a copy on the plotter in the planning office? Well, I don't think it'll copy very well. All right. So a week later, I went in to drop something off at town hall, and all of a sudden, well, here's a copy of that print. Oh, it actually copied really well. All right. We're on Zoom meetings. I'm the only one who has a copy of the plan. What about the other 5 members of the Conservation Commission? They have to see it. So really there should have been 6 copies made and sent to each of the commissioners, instead of me trying to hold the plan up in front of my camera on my computer to show the people during the meeting.
Right.
But that's just, some of the incidents that you run into.
you need more submittals.
So I think the clarification, Larry, if I may, is actual and necessary expenses.
Mhm.
So if at some point in time, a board says, I want 15 copies and you're going to pay for them. Well, that's not a necessary expense. There's only, 5 members on, so you get 5 plans. I still think the the actual and necessary expenses would give our town manager the option to decline the payment because if it's not something that's needed.
But take away the option for her to use her judgment if she didn't think that it was, and you already spent the money. Because you've written shall in there now, and she has to pay for it no matter what.
No, well, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, just to add, I was reading it and it says, may receive actual and necessary expenses incurred into performance. And I just wanted to look at it and say, in the approved performance of their duties by the board and or commission. So what I'm thinking there is if the individual gets permission from the board or the commission, then the town will pay because you had approval to do it. So
Well,
I'm trying to get rid of changing shall to go to may with the understanding that it was approved before you did it.
if I
Yes,
may,
Jeff.
in order to get reimbursed at all, there's specific forms, and you have to submit proof of why you did it, plus receipts, which has to get approved by either, I don't know, finance director or the town manager before you get paid anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and it's not the board or the commission that has to approve it. It's either the town manager or I forget, finance director, or whoever has to approve
Well,
it.
then change it to by the town manager and get rid of board and commission. The only problem is every time you want something, you have to go to the town manager and say, geez, can our commission make 4 copies of this? Or can we make, I mean, that doesn't seem logical.
No.
That's why I said go through the board or commission, and then the board and commission has some type of rapport with the town manager to get to know what the approval would be. I mean, that's what inter-office communications, I think.
Well, I think to get prior approval from a board or commission, I mean, you're on the board or commission, you know you need this.
Yeah, so if you're a member and you ask, the other members vote yes and give you permission to do it.
Yeah, but that's not always practical. I need it right now. Not everybody's available. And usually, it's the entire board or commission or commission that needs the information.
Yes, Jeannie.
Yeah, so whenever somebody incurs expenses, they have to, like Jeff says, give the receipts, and I'm guessing that the Conservation Commission would have the department head approve it. And then
No,
it does
it's not no, it just goes straight to
town manager?
the town manager for approval.
Okay. So you can't get reimbursed until you've incurred the expenses and shown the receipts. They don't give you
Right.
anything in advance.
Right.
So, and I was also wondering, is this something that the finance director should weigh in on? Because appropriation, should he have any input on this?
Yeah, I think so. And the question is, are we creating more a cumbersome procedure?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sure seems that right now.
I'm not sure how many accounts there are. I know conservation can spend, CPC had administrative expense, but that's like a state law, I think. So I'm not sure how many accounts there are specifically for boards and commissions.
Well, the Conservation Commission has its own funds, which are generated by the fees and so forth that the applicants pay.
Right, and you can use that to your discretion, correct?
Right,
Right.
we basically have 3 separate accounts, and one of those is specifically to reimburse for expenses. Like if we go to conferences or whatever, we get reimbursed, or if we buy literature or books or whatever, or regulations pertaining to the conservation, that's reimbursed by that fund or that account.
But it still goes to the finance office and then to the town manager, who has to sign off on the warrant to pay all those bills.
Right.
Right, goes back to her ultimately to sign the warrant.
Yes.
I'm at a loss, people. Ralph, we have a motion here to change out one word, correct?
That's correct.
And do we have a second? I don't see a second.
Larry,
So-
5:30, can we put this off till next week?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we'll come back to this paragraph first thing at our next meeting, which will be October 20th, correct, Dr. Mackey?
Yes, I had it up here,
4:30?
4:30, 1 week from today.
Good. Any other discussion before the committee? Seeing
Motion.
none, do I see a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Ralph,
Second.
second? I need a second on adjournment. Jeffrey, thank you, sir. Phil Adams,
Yes.
Larry Levine, yes. Bill Fonseca,
Yes.
Ralph Page,
Yes.
Jeff Bosworth,
Yes.
Tom Christensen,
Yes.
Andy Frazier.
Yes.
It's a unanimous. Stay well, people. Good job tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. See you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care.